Thank you, sir. First of all, a very good afternoon to all of you. I am going to introduce today's speaker, Professor Shreerup Goswami. He has pursued research in Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences, Lucknow, formerly known as Paleobotany, Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleobotany. During his PhD and DSc, his specialization was Gondwana Paleobotany. Presently, he is working as a professor in Department of Geology, Utkal University, Odisha. Earlier, he was professor and head Department of Earth Sciences, Sambhalpur University, Odisha. Previously, he was associate professor and head Department of Geology, Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. He has successfully undertaken 5 major projects. He has published around 150 research papers in leading international and national journals. Besides, he has written popular science articles, over 30 in Odia, English, Hindi, in various languages. He is also author of 6 books. 19 research scholars have been awarded PhD under his guidance, and 1 scholar has been awarded DSc under his supervision. 2 patents and 3 copyrights have been awarded to him. He is also working as a member of editorial board for many journals. He has also been awarded Boyscast Fellowship by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. On this fellowship, he has carried his research on Gondwana Paleobotany at South African National Biodiversity Institute, Pretoria, South Africa. He has received Young Scientist Award for the year 2008 by Odisha Vigyan Academy, Government of Odisha. He is also recipient of Samanta Chandra Shekhar Best Scientist Award by Odisha Vigyan Academy, Government of Odisha for his contribution to the science in 2011. He has also been awarded Shri Gopinath Mohanty Pratibha Award by Vigyan Prasar Samiti in 2014 for popularizing science by writing articles in regional languages. He has also been felicitated by Council of Science and Technology, Government of Chhattisgarh. Today, he is going to deliver a talk entitled "Let Us Have a Virtual Ramble to Glossopteris Floral Forest." In this talk is on Permian flora, and reconstruction of each plant will be displayed. Paleoclimate, paleoecology, and vegetational reconstruction during Permian time will be discussed. So I invite Professor Goswami for his talk.
Thank you, Dr. Neha Agrawal, madam, for nice introduction, though I'm not deserved for this. At the outset, I would like to recite a stanza from Rig Ved. Anabhadraha kartavayanto viswataha. Let all the noble thoughts come to us from every side. हर दिगों से महत्तर चिंतन हम लोगों को स्पर्श करे. A very good afternoon to one and all present here in this web platform. At the outset, I offer humble obeisance to all the great, eminent, internationally celebrated Gondwana Paleobotanists of India, those have left us heavenly abode, namely Professor Birbal Sahni ji, Dr. K.R. Surang ji, Dr. M.N. Bose ji, Dr. K.M. Lile ji, Dr. D. Bharadwaj ji, Dr. Venkat Chala ji, Dr. Anil Chandra ji, Dr. Archana Tripathi ji, Dr. B.N. Jana ji, and many more. I am really fortunate enough to get a session of eminent Gondwana Paleobotanists during my BSIP days, who have been continuously mentoring infant paleobotanists like me. आप सभी को मेरा विनम्र, भक्तिपूर्ण, भूमिष्ठ सश्रद्ध प्रणाम और प्रणिपात. I also pray for blessings from eminent, internationally renowned paleobotanist Rev. Dr. Vandana Prasad Madam, Director, Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences and President of Paleobotanical Society of India, and the Chief Editor, Venerable Dr. Ramesh Saxena Sahab, and Vice President, Venerable Dr. Vishwanath Thakur ji, and esteemed Secretary Dr. Pawan Govil ji. I offer humble obeisance to Rev. Dr. Mukund Sharma ji and all the esteemed scientists of Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences, all the venerable members of Paleobotanical Society of India. Many of them have been a mentor, guide, philosopher, teacher to me since my BSIP days. Lastly, not the least, my research scholars and research associates. Let me frankly admit that this talk, my talk, is purely a popular science talk, mainly meant for research scholars, and the whole objective is to popularize fossil science in general and that of Permian flora in particular. In the next 40 minutes, I shall show you the fossils of each and every flora and pictures of animals existed during Permian. The fossils of leaves, fructification, stems, trunks, seeds, roots of Permian time will be displayed. Thousands of fossil specimens will be shown to you, as if you will feel that you will be visiting a Permian plant fossil museum, though you have a wonderful museum at BSIP itself. After studying fossils of leaf, fructification, seed, root, stem, trunk, the plants of Permian times have been reconstructed. I shall show you the reconstruction of all the plants existed during Permian time, referring to the work of Chandra 1992, Chandra and Chandra 1988, Maheshwari 1968, Maithi 1965, and some of the works of eminent paleobotanists of BSIP and some of our works. So that you can feel in your mind's eye how the forest would be looking like during Permian. The vegetation reconstructions during Permian time, during the deposition of different sediments, are made by my mentor, guide, philosopher, Dr. Saila Chandraji, and will be presented here to have a feel of your presence in amidst the Permian forest. At the end, I shall show you a video clip of 2 minutes showing hundreds of animals existed during Permian. I shall show you another video clip of swampy Permian forest with wonderful lives if time permits. Thus, in next 40 minutes, let us have a virtual walk to Permian forest and enjoy. Let me start my talk. Present is known to us. The past can be interpreted by fossil evidences. Thus, a trend can be plotted. Future can be predicted, of course, without astrology. India was a member of the supercontinent Gondwana land that existed toward the southern pole during Permian Lower Cretaceous times. A typical flora, often called Gondwana flora, developed within the continents of Gondwana during this period. And the Gondwana flora is conventionally divided into 3 types. The Gondwana sediments, ranging from Assyrian to Albian age, contains remnants of 3 basic floral assemblages: the Glossopteris assemblage, the Dicrodium assemblages, the Tylophyllum assemblage, through Permian, Triassic, and Lower Cretaceous time. There was 3 shifts, major shifts during Gondwana period. There was fall of Rhacopteris flora and rise of Glossopteris flora in the beginning of Permian, that is the first shift during the Gondwana period. The change in penelogy was also observed in the transformation from Gondispore assemblage to Cotenisporites and Plicaticolenates assemblage. Some important genera like Quattrichaps, that is Gondwanadeum of Rhacopteris flora, are also existed in Glossopteris flora up to Atkinskian time, up to the early Atkinskian time, that is up to the Carbonate time. It meant that Glossopteris flora probably evolved from the pre-existing Carboniferous stock through saltations. The glacial episode could have acted as a catalyst for rapid genetic reorganizations in the Rhacopteris flora, resulting in newer morphophysiological types, that is Glossopteris flora. Canonization of river basin during the late Permian regression facilitated the drainage of lowland bogs and lakes, which helped in the luxuriant growth of the Glossopteris flora. At the end of Permian, several changes in the lithosphere occurred, including changes in the proportion in the atmospheric gases, the rotation of plate, the transgression of sea, change in the drainage system, that is the change in the dynamics of the entire fluvial systems. As a result, a stress was created, which distinctly brought a change of flora, that is from Glossopteris to Dicrodium prominence, the second shift. However, the alteration was slow and the climate has not changed drastically at PTB, Permian Triassic boundary. Similarly, onset of Dicrodium flora was in early Triassic period. It proliferated and diversified in middle Triassic period and declined in late Triassic Tertiary period. There is third shift there is a big hiatus between the red bed phases, we all know, that is upper Kamti punctate formation of Triassic age, and the next ovo-like sequence, that is upper Gondwana sediments. There was last and third phase of shift when Tylophyllum flora arose in late and upper Jurassic and diversified much during the early Cretaceous time. Then let me discuss about the occurrence of Glossopteris flora. The Glossopteris flora may have accompanied the ice age and may be slightly younger than it. Occurrence of dissected pollens and presence of poorly preserved stems with growth rings some glacial tilites of Talchi Formation may indicate that its earlier members coexisted with late Carboniferous glaciation, but Glossopteris itself and most of the other members of this flora are believed to be the post-glacial origin. The flora soon reached its climax under damp and wet temperature, wet temperature climate in massive environment. This is evident by its association with huge number of coal seams and the general absence of growth rings in petrified stem fossils with lower Gondwana rocks. In India, major occurrences of Glossopteris flora are found localized within the sedimentary rocks deposited along some major river basins, Damodar Basin, Mahanadi Basin, Pranay Godavari Basin, besides several isolated lower Gondwana rocks reported from some localities such as Sikkim, Kashmir, Rajasthan, east coast of India. And they also yield some Glossopteris flora. The Glossopteris flora members found in almost all rock formations of lower Gondwana sequence such as Talchi, Karabari, Barakar, Baran, Major formation and the equivalent formations in other Gondwana basins. In most of the field sections, the first appearance of Glossopteris flora is noted in rocks immediately overlying the glaciogene delites occurring at the base of Talchi Formation. Again, the main bulk of the flora became extinct and at the base of Punchet Formation. So it is essential to demarcate the age of delites and the base of Punchet to find out the total range of Glossopteris flora, that is from Esselian to Induan-Olenkian age. The coal deposits were formed in extensive areas of cold temperate swamps where plants communities thrived. For the first time, gingos and conifers make their appearance in the fossil record during the Permian and colonizing the drier hills, not requiring swamps for their survival. There are also some tree ferns, cycadels, equisitals, spinophyllus, a dense low swamp vegetation composed of ferns, seed ferns, and possibly mosses like peat, herbaceous lycopods grew in dense masses. As the continental ice sheets melted in the earliest Permian, the rising sea inundated the large areas of India. The part of the continent was the first to become dry land again when the seas retreated. Then the Gondwana basins remained flooded by the shallow seas until the middle Permian. In the swamps and the adjacent areas of high water table, Glossopteris grew that they had specially adapted aeration routes to allow them to grow in boggy conditions. So the Venkatachala and Arkekar, they proposed the mangroves use the same type of roots to grow along the coast at present. So the Glossopteris plants can be compared with the present day mangroves, those who are luxuriantly grown along the coasts. We all know this is the Permian time scale. The age of Talchi Formation, Talchi sediments is Esselian to early Sakmarian. The age of Karabari Formation is late Sakmarian to early Artinskian. The age of Barakar Formation is late Artinskian to Kongurian. And the age of Rhodian, age of Baran Major is Rhodian. Age of Raningan Formation or equivalent formation is Odian to Chansingian. And this table demonstrates stratigraphic correlation between different Gondwana sedimentary basins of India during Permian, showing corresponding formation and relative ages. For my research scholars, those do not have background of Gondwana paleobotany, let me tell that this table demonstrates the characteristic fossils. These are not exactly index fossils, but the characteristic fossils of different formations. And the barren major formations is generally barren of fossils, though there are scanty reports of megafossils and paleofossils from barren major formations. And interestingly, the barren major formation is also the barren of coals because there was change in phases rather than paucity of floral element, because the presence of ironstone cells and purple brown cells of in barren major sediments demonstrate there was oxidizing environment. Ecological condition was arid with dry, hot, and wet, humid spells. The tectonic setup was not stable enough, and deposition regime was not conducive. So, the barren major formation is barren of coals and barren of fossils generally. And let us come to the main topic, the Permian forest. The Permian forest comprises of both vascular and non-vascular plants. Non-vascular plants are mainly bryophytes, and vascular plants consist of pteridophytes and gymnosperms. The Permian forest again consists of bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms. Pteridophytes comprise 4 orders: lycopodials, equisitals, spinophyllus, follicles. Gymnosperms comprise 5 orders: and coriatals, cycadals, gingoids, coniferals, glossopteridals, and there are also some leaf forms, some fertile forms, scale leaves, root, seed, trunk, and there are a number of genera are enlisted here in this slide belonging to different orders, belonging to pteridophytes and gymnosperms. This is a bryophyte fossils reported by Saila Chandraji in the year 1995. Again, this is the present day bryophytes, so that the exclusive objective to show you the present day bryophytes, mosses, hornworts, and liverworts is so that you can feel your mind's eye how bryophytes would be looking like during Permian. How were the bryophytes during Permian? The bryophytes, I've already told, are non-vascular plants. It is a collective term for mosses, hornworts, and liverworts. The bryophytes are devoid of true vascular tissues, lacking extensive resistant mechanical tissue with little or almost no cuticle. Thus, it is difficult to expect such diminutive plants would lend them fossilization. But interestingly, the bryophyte fossils, though it's rare, but are reported in many lower continental sediments. The fossil bryophytes indicates early existences of mosses and liverworts. The bryophytes cannot be transported for great distance due to their fragile nature. Thus, the occurrence of bryophytes has been preserved at the same place where they were growing. As the bryophyte cannot tolerate salinity, so the sea must not have been the near proximity to the bryophyte site, where we will find bryophyte fossils, that it can be concluded that the sea must not have been in the near proximity to that place. They were growing in and around a freshwater pool or a stream from melting ice. And let me tell about pteridophytes. We already discussed the pteridophytes are vascular plants. They reproduce and are dispersed by spores because they produce neither flowers nor seeds. They refer to cryptogams, and there are 4 orders, important orders: lycopodials, equisitals, and spinophyllales, and filicales. Let me discuss about the first order, lycopodials. Lycopodials is the oldest extant living vascular plant division and is around 410 million years old. This species is reproduced by shedding spores. So some of are homosporous while others are heterosporous. They differ from all other vascular plants in having microphyls, leaves that have only a single vascular trace rather than the much more complex megaphylls found in ferns and seed plants. This is the basic difference between lycopodials and advanced pteridophytes. And these are the photograph is the fossil photograph is of Cyclodendron leslie. A very important genus. Cyclodendron is one of the imperative genera of lower Gondwana of Permian time, and this is it is represented by fragments of stems bearing number of spirally arranged eye-shaped leaf scars. It is shown in the field. You can observe in the fossils displayed in the slide. There were small plants which grew near marshy places, forming an undercover of the vegetation. Lycopodials have a distinct coarsen architecture and also clear but very small ligule pit. Then let me discuss about the equisitals. The equisitals was held to be the sole member of classic Equisitopsida. The fossil record includes additional extinct species in Equisitaceae and the extinct families Calamitaceae, Archaeocalamitaceae, and Phyllothicaceae. And this is the photograph of Equisitacea stems, and in the left side, the photographs are living equisitals, so that you will feel in your mind's eye how were the equisitarian plants during Permian. And let me discuss the most imperative genus of the equisital order, that is Cygenura gondwanensis. Here in this case, the leaf sheath is complete in young stage, but as it matures, it splits into 2 long oval lobes with several parallel veins converging at the base and apex. There are around 11 species of Cygenura reported from Permian, Triassic, and Jurassic. We are now discussing about Permian, but there are 6 species of Permian, 6 species of Cygenura during Permian. They are Cygenera gondwanensis, Cygenera wadi, Cygenera ranigangensis, Africana, Manchuriensis, and Striata. These are all photographs of Cygenera gondwanensis. This is the text figure of Cygenera, and this is the reconstruction of Cygenera twig made by us. We published a paper in Geo Society of India in 2019. Interestingly, in a very small locality, we found more than 100 fossil specimens of Cygenera, but no other fossil specimens except Cygenera. We did not find any other fossil specimen from this locality except Cygenera. We all know Cygenera is a herbaceous plant. It had main axis giving alternate branches and possessing opposite leaflets of final branches. So this is an attempt, this figure is an attempt to reconstruct of that particular locality where only Cygenera were reported. And we conclude that this was a forest of hydrophytic plants dominated by Cygenera gondwanensis, developed luxuriantly under warm and highly humid conditions in a marsh ecosystem and possibly around a wet meadow, such as a large shallow pond and shallow lake basins or low-lying depressions. Wet meadows were regularly flooded, but were often dry in summer. That we believe, and we believe that this area where these ecosystem plants had grown was a wetland in general and a wet meadow in particular that was dominated by herbaceous, low-growing shrubs, mainly equestrian plants rather than woody, late Permian or gross and Glossopteris plant, because we did not find any Glossopteris in these localities. This is a northern genus, calamites. This is the reconstruction of calamites plant. This is a northern genus, Annularia. This is fossil Annularia, and the top part is the reconstruction of Annularia plant. This is a Ranigangia plant. And here in this case, it is instituted by Rigby. Here, the number of leaves in a whole, much more than ridges on the stem. The leaves usually united for most of their length to form an almost flat and open saucer-like horizontal hole. This is Bengalia ranigangensis. Here in this case, the leaves are lanceolate, but leaves free up to the tunate base, probably not forming an adpressing sheath. Let me tell the comparison as compared to Bengalia. As compared to Bengalia, the number of leaves in Ranigangia is much more, and they are not free from each other, or to the node at least. In the genus Bengalia has leaves apparently free up to the base. The first one is the fossil photograph of Ranigangia bengalensis. The second one is the fossil photograph of Bengalia ranigangensis. So you can clearly observe that the difference. This is the reconstruction of Ranigangia bengalensis plant. This is the reconstruction of Bengalia ranigangensis plant, and this is the another genus Philotheca. This is the reconstruction of Philotheca indica, and these are all living equisitels, so that you'll have an idea that during Permian, the equisitels would be looking like this. Then let me discuss about spinophylls. One of the important genus is Spinophylum. It is a northern genus, a herbaceous climbing plant. Diameter of stem does not exceed 1 cm. Stem is distinctly jointed by nodes and internodes. This is the photographs of the fossil photographs of Spinophylum, and this is the reconstruction of Spinophylum plant. This is also the reconstruction of Spinophylum plant. Then again, this Indian Spinophylum is Trigigia speciosa. Here in this case, the leaves are arranged in holes on nodes. Each hole comprises 6 leaves like Spinophylum, but the 6 leaves are arranged in 3 distinct pairs. That is 2 bigger pairs and 1 smaller pair. In the case of Spinophylum, that is, they have all equal. There are 3 pairs and equal in size. This is the photographs of Trigigia recovered from different localities. This is the reconstruction of Trigigia speciosa plant. This is another Spinophylal important genus, that is Benlite futia. This is the fossils of Benlite futia. Then let me discuss about Filicales or thorns. Is the most important genus is Neomeropteris, formerly Spinopteris. As the main frond is divided into numerous small pinules. They show considerable variations in their shape. Another fawns are Dichotomopteris, Dizygotheca, Gondwanidium, like this. Let's see, there are different species of Neomeropteris, and the morphological features of different species is presented in this table. This is the reconstruction of Neomeropteris species made by Singh and Chandra in the year 1999. This is another fawn genus, Dichotomopteris, and there are different species of Dichotomopteris, Dichotomopteris major, Lindley, Hulcata, Ovata, like this. And we have already discussed about Gondwanidium, another fawn genus. This is another fawn, Dizygotheca phagopteryx. This is the fossil Dizygotheca, and the left side you will find the reconstruction of that twig. Then let me discuss about gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are seed-bearing vascular plants such as cycads, ginkgo, coniferals, and there are during the Permian time there are 5 types the plants belonging to 5 orders: Coriacales, coniferals, cycadales, ginkgoales, Ginkgosopteridales were available. And let me discuss about the Coriacales. Again, the important genera are Neomeropteris, Euryphyllum, Couchiphyllum, and Cordytes. These are all tall tree, trunk and spirally arranged, and spreading branches. And the age is almost Permian. Leaves are long, narrow, and the venation is parallel in almost all the, in all the cases, in all the genera. And then let me show you the Neomeropteris fossil specimens. This is again the parallel venation, and next this is the photograph of Agathis robusta. When I was at Birbal Sahan Institute of Paleobotany in late 90s, there was Agathis robusta in the campus. It is very similar to the venation of leaves of Agathis robusta is very similar to Neomeropteris. Then again, the Neomeropteris has a number of species. Neomeropteris slopi, indica, gondwanensis, Zaileri, bonboriana, pepilosa, fiprosa, spatulata, then Synorbis, conspicua, minor, and sahajurensis, like many more. Then let me discuss about Euryphyllum, the leaf fruit is closely resembles to the genus Neomeropteris, but again the venation is parallel, but the veins are slightly divergent compared to Neomeropteris. These are photographs of Euryphyllum fossils. These are photographs of Euryphyllum, different species of Euryphyllum, Neomeropteris, Couchiphyllum, and Cordytes. I have left Cordytes. Cordytes is the northern genus, but still they are reported. Cordytes are reported in Indian Lower Gondwana. In this case, there are some thick veins, then some thin veins, then thick veins. They are alternately arranged in the leaf. And then these are all different species of Euryphyllum, Euryphyllum hutanum, Euryphyllum ovatum, elongatum, like this. And then another species, genus is Couchiphyllum. There are 2 species, Couchiphyllum dunpothensis and Couchiphyllum barakarensis. If you see the fossil, one side looks like a convex side, another is concave side. And then these are all reconstruction of the plant. These are the drawings, reconstruction of Podatian plant. This is a leaf of Agathis robusta. Probably due to the construction of new building, probably this plant is not available at BSIP. Recently when I visited, I searched for this plant, but I did not find this plant. And this is the plant of Agathis robusta. And on the right side, you will find the reconstruction of Agathis robusta. That is Neomeropteris. These are all the trunk fossils, Deoxylon. And some believe that this is the trunks of Cordytes and Neomeropteris. Some believe these are trunk fossils of Ginkgosopteridales. Then let me discuss about the ginkgoales. The ginkgoales are ancient plants which reached their climax of development during Jurassic and Cretaceous times, but reported during Permian also. It is characterized by the structure of the seeds, swimming sperms, and double leaflets. However, at present, the whole group is represented only by single species, Ginkgo biloba, indigenous to China, we all know. And the common genus is Ginkgoides, Handapaphyllum, and Lepidopsis. The gingoids and these the main characters of these genera are the maiden hair tree gingo with its biped vase-shaped leaves is now confined to parts of China. I have already discussed it. First appeared in the Paleozoic and was very widespread in Mesozoic. A 30 meters long leaf, and almost all cases of gingo leaves or gingoids leaves, the fan-shaped leaves had dichotomously branching veins. These are all photographs of, in the right side, you will find the photographs of gingoids fossil, and the left side you will find, and in the top you will find the living gingo, so that you will have an idea that how gingo plants would be looking during Bornean. This is another gingo, gingoids, the Hunter phylum. It is essentially a petiolate leaf, and there is no equal lobing of the lamina. Moreover, the leaves in gingo phylum are spirally arranged on the axis, while the Hunter phylum, the leaves are oppositely arranged. Hunter phylum is another gingo phylum, and Hunter phylum, there are also gingos. This is a photograph of Hunter phylum fossils. This is a photograph of Lepidopsis gondwanensis, another a genus of gingoid order. Then let me discuss about the coniferals. In this case, the most imperative genus of lower Gondwana coniferal is Boreadia heterophylla, possibly an index fossil, a characteristic fossil of Carbonic formation. In this case, leaves are simple, biped and multifid, decurrent, and are broadly attached. Biped and multifid leaves appear flattened, while the simple ones are trifacial. This is on the right side. There is a living coniferous plant, so that we will have an idea how was the Boreadia plant during Permian. This is on the left side. This is Boreadia fossils. This is a reconstruction of coniferal fossil. Then let me discuss about cycadales. There are two important genera of cycadal group. Those are found in lower in Permian time: Cirroctenis, Macroteniopteris. And in this, in all these cases, almost all the leaves are ovate, large in size, and importantly, cross connections and meshes are absent in these cases. And in the bottom, there is a living cycadal plant, so that this is again living cycadal plant, so that we'll have an idea that how the Macroteniopteris, Cirroctenis plants were during Permian. Then let me discuss about Glossopteridals. Again, there are a number of Glossopteridal leaf. There are leaf forms: Surungifilum, Paleoviteria, Glossopteris, and Gangopteris. Let us start with Surungifilum. It has similar venation, reticulate venation like Glossopteris. The only difference is their hasted base. There is petiolate leaf, and their leaf with sagittate to hasted base, and differently. That means a differently low base. It is clearly observed in these fossil photographs. These three photographs are of Surungifilum, and the first one is Vertebraria indica, wrongly presented here. And this is another genus of Glossopteridal order, that is Paleoviteria, a leaf form where the midrib is up to 3/4 of the lamina. And this is an elevated and flat midrib formed with closely arranged parallel veins, and it continued up to 3/4 of this lamina, this Paleoviteria, the same reticulate venation. Then again, let me discuss about Gangomopteris. The midrib is absent, the venation is subparallel, and there are around 27 species of Gangomopteris reported throughout the Gondwana. And these are some fossil photographs of Gangomopteris. Gangomopteris boreadica, Gangomopteris hispida, Gangomopteris obtusifolia, Gangomopteris major, like this. And let me tell, in Talchi, Seward 1941 imaged that the plant Glossopteris is a small shrub. Plumstead in 1958 assumed that the Gangomopteris plant might have been a woody arborescent with short shoots. Rigby in 1969 depicted that Gangomopteris A tall tree, arborescent tree, whole with small leaves. So finally, it is concluded that in Talchi time, the plant of the Gango trees was very small. It attained the maximum development in the Karnataka period, showing varied habits. That is, some of the species were small shrubby plants, while others attained the habit of a large tree. This is a reconstruction of the Gangopteris plant made by us. This is a root form of Glossopteridales vertebraria. Then let me discuss about the most important genus, Glossopteris. Again, reticulate renaissance, mid-ribs present. There are different photographs of Glossopteris. There are 130 species of Glossopteris. And these are photographs of different species of Glossopteris found from different locality by us. Glossopteris was the most abundant genus in the Indian Permian flora. These leaves are recorded and recognized nearly 180 years ago. And these are all reconstruction of the Glossopteris plant made by different workers, eminent paleobotanists. So it is inferred that the plants of Glossopteris during the deposition of Talchi formation were possibly very stunted forms attaining a height of small shrub, as evidenced by no report of woody stems from this period throughout the Gondwana. Subsequently, during the deposition of Karnataka formation, some of the species attained at height of trees, while others remain as small bushy plants. In later period, most of that is during the deposition of Barakat time and Raniganj sediments, during the deposition of Raniganj sediments, most of them attained an arborescent habit. However, some of them could possibly have retained a herbaceous habit. That's wrong. We believe that again the Dagaroxylon fossils. Let me tell about. In India, most of the workers are speeders. Earlier, a large number of species of the genus Glossopteris, that is 130, have been instituted in India in different Gondwana formations by just differing one or two characters in the morphology of the leaf or in cuticle features. We all know the sunlight, water availability, amount of rainfall, intensity, wind velocity, and other climatic factors and various ecological conditions under which the genus thrived affect the various morphological characters within the same species. And within the same species, the leaves grow very rapidly in the sun, then in the shade, resulting in the development of longer lateral veins and wide meshes, and thereby exhibiting high stomatal frequency in the former case. Hence, many factors are responsible for such differences in the morphology and in the minor difference in cuticles. Recent researches on living species depict that different leaves of a single species, of a single twig, do not show exactly similar cuticle characteristics. So how can we erect we have already detected 130 species. So the Glossopteris species should be made on the basis of their female fruits instead of leaf morphology as is made in South Africa. But interestingly, it is not possible in India because Glossopteris cannot be classified on the basis of their variable fructifications, as they are not generally found in association, not in organic connection with parent plant or leaves in India. So a great variety of female and male fructification association in actual attachment of Glossopteris leaves also suggest that the form genus Glossopteris represents a much higher rank rather than a simple leaf form. Thus, an attempt has been made to make the Kawas classification system to potential one to influence towards a natural standardization of the system. Thus, a methodical study of already reported Glossopteris species from India is carried out for precise understanding of its form, its biodiversity, etc. The artificial classification of genus Glossopteris based on morphology and cuticle characteristics of isolated leaves from uncertain localities does not reflect natural biodiversity. So, an attempt has been made that The proposal here is to reduce this number, that is 130 number, to just 28 species complex, not species, species complex that might be considered natural, so that it can might be reflect natural biodiversity of that period. There are all 28 species that we have selected from Chandra and Surangi monograph. These are all separate fructifications photographs. These are photographs of scales. This is the fossil photographs of scale leaves. Fructifications, fossil photographs of fructifications. This is fossil photographs of seeds. Then let me discuss about, in many, we were inspired from the work of Dr. Ashwini Srivastav sir, where we have observed in a single section, we have observed there was evolution of midrib, peture and maize of Glossopteris in space and time. That this fact depicts that the climate gradually increased from cool to moderately warm and then to warm in late and upper Permian time. Then let me discuss about whether there is complete extinction at the PT boundary. The advent of Triassic witnessed decline of Glossopteris flora. Still then, some Permian genera, that is Neomeropteris, Glossopteris, even some Equisterians plants, continued up to the early Triassic. But their representation was very reduced, and simultaneously Dicrodium and other related pteridophytes groups reappeared. The change of flora from Permian to early Triassic is gradual and not abrupt, but the climate did not change drastically in the beginning of the Triassic. Hence, it can be inferred that the plant life shows a high turnover rather than a mass extinction, because numerous innovations in taxa have also been taken place at the stratigraphic vicinity of the Permian Triassic boundary. Actually, I have already told the Rhacopteris flora a member of Rhacopteris flora, that is Gondwanadium, continued up to the Carnivore time, up to the Artinsian time. Likewise, the Gangopteris Pariadia, they evolved during the Assyrian and continued up to the Congurian, and then gradually extinct. So in a later pattern, some plants are evolved and some plants are got extinct. So therefore, there are no evidences of complete extinction of plants at the PT boundary in these basins, in almost all lower Gondwana basins. The present case of study of the Gondwana basins of India suggests that en masse extermination of life in sea as well as on land did not occur equally. Then again, we have inspired from Ashwini Kumar Srivastav Sarji. He has published many papers on alien elements. The occurrence of northern hemispheric taxa in Gondwana land considered as alien elements to the Gondwana flora. The genera, namely Cyzonera, Pyrotheca, Spinophyllum, Tridizia, Epidopsis, Gingoids, Chordites, have been reported in lower Gondwana sediments of India. It demonstrates that the elements of Glossopteris flora had its ancestry in the late Carboniferous flora. Floristic analysis suggests that the plant groups other than Glossopteris in Gondwana flora owe their characteristic affiliation with the northern floras. Then let me discuss about plant-animal relationship. There are some insect traces. Those are reported from, again, in different leaves of lower Gondwana flora. Again, we have encouraged by Dr. Ashwini Kumar Srivastav sir, and there are a number of insect traces. There are different types of insect traces, feeding traces, insect egg sites, blotch marks. Now we are searching for these insect traces. Now we obviously have already published some papers. These are all the insect activities in Glossopteris leaves. Then let me discuss about the paleoclimate and paleoenvironment, paleovegetations. With this slide again, from the pollen, even we can know the botanical affinity of that pollen, so that in our mind's eye, we can reconstruct the paleovegetation of that particular area on the basis of pollen assemblages. And let me tell about the Talchi assemblage includes Gangopteris, Autocaria, Arbaria. It depicts some plants could thrive even when the land was largely ice covered, but the vegetation was scanty and thriving on ice-free areas. Subsequently, late Talchi, that is during the during the Sakmarian time, early Sakmarian time, the floral diversification started with increased sunlight and temperature. Then gradually, assemblage of Arabic formation consists of Gangopteris, Euryphylum, Nigrothapsis, Boreadia, and some narrow mass from Grosopteris species. All of the leaf forms of both Talchir and Kaharbori assemblage are without a midrib except narrow mass species of Grosopteris that demonstrate a cooler climate throughout the Talchir and Kaharbori time. It has been observed that the Gangopteris leaf forms show a marked general increase in size from Talchir to Barakar through Kaharbori, which reveals that climate gradually warmer and become more hospitable for plant growth. During the upper Barakar time, that is during the Kongurian time, the climate tended to become warm and temperate. As a result, Gangopteris, Euryphylum, Nigrothapsis, Boreadia shows an abrupt decline after the Kongurian and disappear from the scene in after Kongurian in most of the cases. On the contrary, the climate of Barakar and lower Kamti time, that is during the late Permian time, was conducive for the rapid growth and diversification of Grosopteris. The Permian species were recorded in number, but just not for disappeared in the early lower Triassic, I've already told. And this table demonstrates the paleoclimate during earliest Permian, that is during the deposition of Talchir sediment, that is during the deposition of Kaharbori sediments, that is during the deposition of Barakar sediment, that is late Attensian to Kongurian, that is during the deposition of Baran major sediment, that is during the Rhodian, and that is during the deposition of Raningan's time, that's late Permian time, and during the early Triassic time, that is during the deposition of lower Kamti or Ponchek forming sediments. This is a reconstruction of late Talchis vegetation, that is during the vegetation during early Sakmarian time, made by Dr. Saila Chandraji. This sketch of the previous figure. This is a reconstruction of Kaharbori vegetation. The sketch of the previous figure. This is a reconstruction of Barakar vegetation, again by Dr. Sailaji. Sketch of the previous figure. This is a reconstruction of Kulti vegetation, that is the vegetation during Rhodian time, Baran major vegetations. And this is the sketch of the previous slide. This is the reconstruction of Raningan vegetation. There was luxuriant vegetation. This is a sketch of previous slides. This is a reconstruction made by us, that is a vegetation reconstruction of Iberian basin during late Attensian to Kongurian age. We have published the paper. Sketch of the previous slide. We have almost reconstructed almost all plants, because in Iberian basin we found almost all important genera of lower Gondwana of Permian time. So this is in this figure we reconstruct individually almost all plants of Permian. See the vegetation reconstruction of Iberian basin during late Permian time. This is a wonderful figure made by Dr. Sailaji, the vegetation reconstruction of Handappa, Talchir basin during late Permian time. Same the sketch published in Review of Paleobotany in 1992 by Chandra and Singh. This is the vegetation reconstruction of Himgiri during late Permian time, that Himgiri basin, a part of Iberian basin. Then at the end, let me tell actually what I am doing. Then before completing my talk, I shall show you a video clip of comprising some animals of during Permian. But let me introduce that what I am exactly doing. You all are doing outstanding research, my dear eminent scientists of Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleosciences. You all are source of inspiration for all of us, my scholar and for me. With limited infrastructure, we have tried to pursue some insignificant research. Let me introduce my research with all of you. Climate change and fossil biodiversity at all levels of geological isolation through the Permian to early Cretaceous, as is reflected in the rock sequence of Mahanadi Gondwana Basin, by far the richest and the largest Indian basin of this age globally. Plant biodiversity as preserved in the Grosopterids of the Indian Permian as a part of wider international project tracking terrestrial biodiversity trends through the geologic time. I have undertaken several projects, but it is very difficult to get a project sponsored by national agency on the Sopteris flora. So in most of the cases, we spent from our pocket, used to go to the field and collected fossils. We have collected mega fossils from Ibribor, Talcher, Korba, Bandraigad, Hasdoer, and Ramkola, Tatapani, East Bokhara, West Bokhara, North Karanpura, and South Karanpura basins in the last 5 years. We have collected more than 20,000 fossil specimens and kept in the repository of Sambalpur University, possibly the second largest repository of the Lower Gondwana fossils after BSIP. Obviously, we are working on work for taxonomy, but now we are developing an app for identification of Goswami species. We have selected 15 to 25 photographs of measured complete specimens of each species, and by the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning, we are now developing an app for identification of Goswami species. Then we are also working on marine incursion. The marine nature of Talchi, Karapuri, Barakar, and Baran measures of county sediments of major basins was predicted on the basis of typical marine ichnofossils. We have already reported marine ichnofossils, acritax. We have already reported a number of phosphorite nodules in different basins, especially in Ibri River and Talcher basin, and sedimentary structures like ripple bedding, evidence of wave activity, salinity rise in Pormian sediments, which strengthen the view that there was marine incursion during the Pormian time. We had prepared a fossil inventory of the state Odisha and subsequently updating the same on regular basis. Besides paleobotany, we have developed software. We have been awarded patent and copyrights for the same. I have been pursuing research on acoustic science in general and soundscape studies in particular since last 18 years. We have undertaken a mega project to decipher the effect of devotional music on plants, and we have miraculous result. We have also undertaken groundwater quality studies in fluoride-rich belt and mining areas and effect on geo coastlines after cyclones in eastern coast India. And at the very end, I shall appeal you that, my dear young paleobotanist brothers and sisters, you will be shocked to know that the paleobotany as a subject has already been eliminated from the curriculum of most of the geology and botany departments of the universities of India. You won't find any university teacher of botany and geology pursuing paleobotanical research nowadays. If we will not be serious, the day will come, even there will be no paleobotanist in Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleosciences, which was formerly known as Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleobotany. I, an infant paleobotanist, urge you all, appeal you all, that let us do something to save this branch of science. Otherwise, the divine souls of eminent paleobotanists, those who have left us for heavenly abode, including Professor Birbal Sahani ji, will not excuse us. Let us sit together. Let us popularize. Why should we read paleobotany? Does plants fossil science have a future, or is it to be relegated to just a historical consequence? Should plant fossils be only a part of the museum? Is it the right suggestion of academicians that plant fossil science be eliminated from master degree course of botany and geology? These questions should be carefully dealt with and analyzed, failing which the discipline itself would become a part of museum and gradually become fossilized. And I am sure this discipline, the plant paleobotany, has already been fossilized to a greater extent. Required is good publicity and advertising of paleobotany, through which it can also capture the popular mind's eye. We know it better than paleobotanists that on feet got extinct and feet and relevant survived. We should draw constructive relevant programs with suitable strategy, taking advices of senior and retired scientists of BSIP. I am confident with the advice, with the suggestions of eminent retired scientists and of Birbal Sahani Institute of Paleosciences, the paleobotany will surely cross the crossroads safely and survive from its juncture. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you very much. Good many thanks, numerous thanks, millions of thanks for inviting me to deliver a talk. let me show you a small video of 2 minutes, if you allow me.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for this much informative talk. And I just would like to. Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
And this is a 1 minute video showing the animals during the Permian forest.
Please go ahead, yes.
Then the animals specific to Gondwana continents will be shown hereafter. सभी को फिर एक बार प्रणाम.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thanks a
for
lot.
giving me an opportunity. सभी
Yes,
को मेरा विनम्र.
If anyone has any question, please raise your hand, or Ratankar sir.
Ratan sir wish to ask something, I think, sir.
Hello, Shreerup.
Yes,
Am I
yes, sir.
audible?
Yes,
Yes. First of
I have least
Hello.
knowledge Gondwana paleobotany than you. I have learned many things from you. So this was a popular talk and a mere popular talk for research
First of all,
scholars.
heartiest congratulations for a very passionate lecture, and nice to see that you are holding the flag high of paleobotany outside BSIP. As you said, that many few, or rather, very few or almost none centers now exist outside of BSIP. Okay, but one thing I must say, without I mean honestly, without any what, without any dilution or what, when you were in BSIP 20 years back around, okay,
जी.
I can dare say that BSIP was at its lowest point, at its nadir, okay,
Yes.
because Iron Institute is known by its publications.
Yes.
And at that point of time, the only paper that used to be covered were in geophytology or paleobotany. And as
Yes.
to weak to make paleobotany weak, actually, your passion plea was very good. But if good papers and good workers are there, the science will itself survive and thrive.
Yes. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Again, I say paleobotany had a decline in PSIP because of the paleobotanists who were doing at that point of time in the 90s, when the world was fast changing. They were stuck up in decades old research. This from that nala, that from that nala, only two pattis and all that. Okay, there was a paradigm shift in the 90s which the BSIP could not keep pace of. You admit that?
Yes, yes.
So because this was the main center of paleo-botany,
Yes.
and I can have a debate on that.
Yes.
That's why paleo-botany had a massive fall, and since the last say 10 years or 15 years, the institute publication has seen a paradigm shift. There has been a
Yes.
quantum jump in the quality.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. I saw this time. Wonderful publications made by
I can say
scientists.
that the youngsters today and the mid-level scientists, they are much better than those oldies who put paleo-botany science down at BSIP. So if the youngsters keep on doing on good work, the science will survive. If they don't, then okay, it won't survive. It's plain and simple. You have to keep pace with the world. You have to keep on publishing in good international peer-reviewed journals. That is the only way. There is no other way out. If
Yes.
your work is relevant, if your work is of standard, then only it will be published in international journals. Okay. Now nobody is bothering about a paleobotanist or this geophytology or this local or your home journals. So for at least now 15 or 20 years or so, there are very good crop of paleo-botanists here who have been appointed in the last 10 years or so. I'm sure they will keep the flag high, and it's up to them to make this to take this science forward. I mean, these are very very strong words, but I've seen it. When I joined the institute in the 90s, the institute was at its nadir. I can debate it. There were hopeless publications are there, and at present, the institute profile has gone up like anything.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Anyone else would like to share points? Or ask any question to the speaker? I have a little bit problem with the internet here, so that's what if I am audible. If there is no question, then we seriously would like to thank you, Professor Shreerup Goswami sir. Really, it was a nice talk. I mean, बहुत बढ़िया लगा मुझे तो आपकी talk देके जो
Very popular talk, no research, nothing else.
जो भी
Very passionate.
seriously, it was really
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sir. Sir, sorry. I want to ask some little question.
Please, sorry, please go ahead.
Sir, I just like to ask very different from what you just presented on your slides about the effect of music on plants, and you are
Yes.
carrying out this research since last 18. So I just want to know what you.
Actually, I have been carrying out research on acoustic science and soundscapes since last 18 years, but I have just started doing this research in last 2 years. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, 4 क्रॉप, मटर जो भिंडी होते हैं और मूंग के साथ उगाते हैं एक ग्रीन हाउस में. उसमें कुछ प्लांट को हम एकोस्टिक चैम्बर खरीदे हैं. तो एकोस्टिक चैम्बर में हम लोग उसको डालते हैं और डिवोशनल म्यूजिक सुनाते हैं उनको. और आप यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू सी those plants, those listening to devotional music and mantras, their growth is something miraculous, and their number of fruits, the number of the leaves, everything, even the quality of the protein content of that fruits is also higher. We have already tested. Now we are undertaking biochemical parameters. We are undertaking this experiment in ashram near Bhubaneswar. And the chief of the ashram, a yogi, is pursuing PhD under my guidance on this topic only, and hopefully we will get very good result. And another research I am pursuing that in Panchang there is always forecast of rainfalls. So उसमें हम लोग जो पंचांग में रेनफॉल को फोरकास्ट किया आता है, उसमें हम लोग सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप किए हैं जो ग्रह नक्षत्र का चलन के हिसाब से, on the basis of astrological parameters, we have developed softwares how to predict meteorology, how to predict rainfall in a particular, in a very smaller region. And you will be happy to know that the software we developed gives very accurate result, and possibly and is accurate than I in the software. And the government of India have been awarded patent and copyright with us. And one of my scholars has been awarded DSc.
Okay.
Has been awarded DSc doing this work. But I am बहुत उटपटांग रिसर्च में करता रहता हूँ, फिर पहले बॉटनी को नहीं छोड़ा हूँ because I have some passion with.
That's really good.
I asked for that. Thank you. Interesting. Therefore,
Thank you.
thank you so much for this.
Anyone now, if is there, or just I'll thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Shreerup Goswami, sir. Really, it was a wonderful talk, and what you are doing right now, it's really amazing and interesting. Just I'm going to end the meeting. I'm thankful to the speaker, Professor Goswami, for the talk, and all participants to share their time and their graceful presence. And we will communicate further for the coming talks. Very much. Thank you. Thank you.
सभी को प्रणाम, विनम्र
Thank you, sir.
प्रणाम, भूमिस्थ
Thank you
प्रणाम,
so much.
भक्ति प्रणाम, सत्संग प्रणाम।
Thank you. आपकी संस्कृत बहुत बढ़िया है, सर.
At the end, let me recite stanza. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dapag bhavet. May all become happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is auspicious. May no one suffer. Oh my Lord God, lead us from ignorance to truth. Oh my Lord God, lead us from death to deathlessness. Oh my Lord God, lead us from darkness to light. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you. We all wish you the same. Thank you. Thank for the wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you very much.
Saksana sir, namaskar. I pray for your blessings.
Namaskar.
Convey my regards to Saila ji.
Thank you. Namaskar.
हो रहा है ना खत्म हो गया ना